All right, welcome to episode 2 of the Redeem Team podcast. I am Casey.
I'm Drew. You already know.
We are currently missing Isaiah and Vincent. We already know about Vincent. Isaiah was just tired. That's understandable. Today, we're going to be getting into the draft results. We're going to be talking about way too early season predictions in terms of awards. And we're going to be talking about future standings within the conferences. So, just to kick things off, I would like to apologize to Isaac Okoro, and I would like to apologize to the Thunder fans out there for jinxing us out of Kelly Oubre. And we also want to send our prayers and condolences to Klay Thompson,
who we also jinxed.
Yeah, we did also jinx him. So we apologize for all that, especially Klay. We hope he can recover as fast as humanly possible.
We miss you, Klay.
We want nothing but health and well-being for the players that we speak on. So with that being said, let's get into our way too early NBA season predictions. For MVP, I have either LeBron James or Luka Doncic. I think LeBron will have another 25-11 season. I think that last year he should have won it, but
he should have 10. If we're being honest.
But that's just me taking the award MVP too literally.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I think Luka's more likely to win it because he's a younger face. He's becoming the face of the league along with the other stars that are emerging. Thankfully, I think it's highly likely that he averages a triple double. I think that he takes a step up from what was past season. I also think that the Mavs break through in free agency and sign a Buddy Hield type. I've read reports that said Buddy Hield wants to come to Dallas, and Mark Cuban has no problem throwing bags at players. So if Buddy Hield wants to come to Dallas, I'm sure he's welcome. But I do think that Luka has the highest probability of winning because I think that the Mavs are carrying the confidence from which they played in the playoffs last season onto this season.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Luka is definitely a top candidate. He's only getting better. He's still one of the younger stars in the league. So if he doesn't win it this year, he's probably going to get one eventually, especially if the Mavs just keep continuing to grow.
Yeah.
I'm a little biased here. And I picked Damian Lillard to be my MVP.
I saw that coming.
And yeah, I know that's a stretch, but I'm also a victim of taking the word most valuable too seriously. And I think Damian Lillard has been the most valuable piece and asset for years now. Because if you take him out of that system, they're not even in the conversation for playoffs. Like they'd be an okay team, middle of the pack. But without Dame, they're nothing. He's the heart and soul of that team. He's the offense completely. I just think that I think his best results were third in MVP voting, if I'm not mistaken, maybe fourth.
Yeah.
But I think he should already have one. If he had more success on his team, I think it would have been easier to vote for. But
also him playing in Portland doesn't help a lot.
Yeah, no.
Outside of Milwaukee, which is a small market team with a superstar, I say Dame's a superstar, but I think that Giannis is more so a superstar than Dame is just because of his cultural reach out.
Yeah.
But Dame's really never going to get the respect that he should and ever. He's been in the league for 8-9 years now. He's only been to 5 All-Star games. He should be to at least 8 or 9 outside of his rookie season. But he puts up MVP numbers year after year. This past season, he just put up 35 and 8.
Yeah.
On almost 50, 40, 90.
So close, bro. To be more realistic, I think Jokic, Giannis, and LeBron are all great options. Giannis and LeBron already have it, so I'm not going to talk about them. But Jokic, I think Denver's an upcoming powerhouse. I think if they keep that core together, they can win multiple championships and be the next Warriors. And Jokic is the center of that. He's a point center
Yeah.
which we've never seen. I've like literally in the bubble, I'm pretty sure their first bubble game, they played a lineup like 6'8" and above.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. It was like
Yeah.
Bol, Jeremy Grant, Jokic. I don't know the rest,
Probably like Torrey Craig and Plumlee.
but anyways, he was bringing the ball up the court as a 7-footer, bro. So he easily gets triple doubles. I think that he would be a great MVP candidate and one to look out for.
Yeah. He's easily the best passing big of all time.
Ever. And I'm a Blazer. I love Arvidas, but no, you don't have anything on Jokic, bro. The game's evolved. Moving on to Defensive Player of the Year, I think we can unanimously agree Anthony Davis is going to win that one.
He should have won last year.
Yeah, he should have won last year, but people love Giannis too much. I think he has a step over Giannis just because of his versatility. I feel like he's more lateral on defense, and I don't know. Just watching them play, it seems like he tries harder.
Yeah, and that's not to take anything away from Giannis as a basketball player. I just think Giannis's play has earned him the spotlight at which he's garnered, but the media tends to overhype a lot of things, and what the media does is they're so persistent on searching for the next superstar. Every single draft, it's who's the next LeBron, who's the next Kobe, who's the next MJ, who's the next Curry. We don't ever really appreciate greatness as greatness
until it's over and they're gone.
Yeah, and then we start to look at them as their own players. But with Giannis, he's not Shaq. He's not the most dominant big. He's just Giannis, and we have to look at him introspectively as just Giannis. We can't continue to throw these massive comparisons on these players because all that does is set an unprecedented expectation that we look for in their play, and that's just not fair to what outcome that they end up producing. Like when Trae Young was drafted, it was all Steph Curry, Steph Curry, Steph Curry, and obviously looking at both of their games,
there's similarities,
striking similarities,
but they're completely different.
They're different players, and I just think that throwing these comparisons on these dudes this early is pretty unfair. But back to Defensive Player of the Year, I do think that it is Anthony Davis. I think he, like you said, he should have won it last year. He just offers so much defensively. Giannis is great, but Anthony Davis is just greater. I just think there's just stuff that Anthony Davis does that doesn't make sense. Like he changes entire halves of basketball just by stepping up in the middle of the paint or switching on pick and rolls, or he doesn't really bite on pump fakes, which is strange too, considering that bigs typically do that. He's just so versatile everywhere. And he brings so much to the Lakers in terms of a defensive presence. Obviously, LeBron being old, and they don't really have any big defensive stoppers. They just have a bunch of guys that make a lot of hustle plays and plays. So Anthony Davis is the leader on their defense. Yeah,
don't be fooled. KCP is not good at defense. It just looks like he is. It's an illusion, like his entire game.
It's a mirage. So for most improved, I have Shai Gilgeous. I promise that's not part of my Thunder bias. I think that with CP3 leaving, that just leaves more room for him to improve even more. I think he goes from a 20-point-a-game to a 25-point-a-game scorer. It's not going to be flashy. It's not going to be through dunks. He's not going to pull up and shoot 10 threes. But he's so efficient offensively, and he's a great defender. I'm a sucker for a big guard who is good offensively and defensively.
Yeah.
And I think that...
Which is really rare nowadays, too.
Yeah, and a lot of that responsibility that CP3 had is now going to fall on Shai's shoulders, and I believe that he's the one to handle that. I'm sure CP3 taught him every trick that he could during his stint in OKC. And also with Dennis being gone, a lot of scoring will fall on Shai's shoulders. I don't perceive Shai as some scoring genius, but he can score the basketball. He can shoot. Like I said, he's efficient. he just doesn't. He does what he does and doesn't go outside of his lane. So that's why I have Shea as my most improved. But I do believe Jamal Murray could get it as well, because this past season he only averaged about 18, 4, and 5. And that confidence that he gained from his bubble run is gonna carry over. That's inevitable. The stuff that he was doing in the bubble, it just didn't make sense.
He looked like a different player.
Yeah, he looked like Steph and Dame's love child. He and that, like I said, the confidence carries over, and that's going to translate to the game. I think that he finally found who he was as a basketball player. I think that watching him before, he had an idea of what he was supposed to be, but he didn't really execute on his view of basketball.
Yeah.
And I also think that the Nuggets just continue to get better and continue to work well. So I could see Jamal making a massive jump in points and assists this next season.
Yeah. I had Jamal Murray as my second choice also, but my first guy is Bam Adebayo. He averaged 16, 10, and 5 last season, which are great numbers, and he got an all-star appearance. But I think he's going to be one of the better bigs in the league for a long time. So I see those numbers jumping up to around like 23, 12, and 6, 7-ish. And if he gets that, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't win MIP. Jamal Murray is hard to ignore just because I don't see him averaging anywhere close to 18 points next season.
Yeah.
I think he's a completely different player now. Jason Tatum's a good option. He was already averaging 23, 7, and 3, but he could easily be a 30-point per game guy. And being the number one option now, and it's very clear cut. Like even Kemba has taken a step back and acknowledged it. I think his assist numbers are going to go up because his usage rate's going to go up. So he's a good option. Markelle Fultz, just got to keep him in there because I haven't given up on him yet.
Yeah.
You're going to be great, Markelle. Even J. Cole put you in a song, bro, because we believe in you.
He believes in you.
I'm believe in you.
Skeptical.
I believe in you, Markelle.
But that does not mean I don't wish success. I do hope Markelle figures it out.
That being said, that's a stretch. I just like him and want to see him do great things. It's definitely between Bam and Jamal Murray for me, though.
Mm-hmm. So, for my coach of the year, I have Monty Williams, the coach of the Suns. I think that Chris Paul, as a Thunder fan, seeing the impact that he had with those young guys, I think he can even have much more of that impact in Phoenix, especially considering how good Devin Booker is.
Mm-hmm.
I love Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker this next season can average 30 points a game. He averaged 26 last season. I feel like 5-6 points more a game with a facilitator and a leader like Chris Paul is not out of the realm of possibility.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Suns do sneak into the playoffs, and a lot of that credit is going to fall on Monty's shoulders, whether deserved or undeserved. And I think that CP3 being there unlocks everybody's potential at a different level.
Yeah,
you saw what CP3 did for Shea, what CP3 did for Dennis, what CP3 did for Lou Dort in Oklahoma City with these young guys for Darius Baisley.
Yeah, I didn't even know who he was until about midway season.
Darius Baisley played wonderful. And that's a testament to the leader that CP3 is, and all these guys loved him. So I think that he can do that even more so in Phoenix, and I think that Monty. This is what's good about Coach of the Year. Coach of the Year actually means Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Last year it went to Billy Donovan, who it should have gone to. The year prior, I think the past 2 years prior, pre-Billy Donovan, it went to Nick Nurse, which is also well-deserved. So Coach of the Year goes to who it's supposed to go to. So I think it's either going to be Monty Williams, and depending on how Atlanta plays, it could possibly go to Lloyd Pierce.
Yeah. That's interesting because I don't have any of them on my list. I understand where you're coming from, though. I picked Doc Rivers, and I had Mike Malone as that next guy in.
Mm-hmm.
I like Doc Rivers just because of the potential that he can unlock in Philly. They've been an underachieving team for the past probably 3 years now. They did make it to the conference finals and went to a game 7, but they should have bounced back from that hungry, and they got swept in the first round.
Yeah.
So if Doc Rivers can come in there and completely change the culture there, and I think he's capable. He's shown that he's good with star potential players. The problem is that if they don't get it this year, I see them breaking up that team. I don't see them keeping Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid after not achieving what their goals are. And even though the blame might or should go to Doc Rivers, I think it's going to go towards the players.
Yeah, the only issue I think with Doc is the same issue Philly struggled with this past year was the same reason that he got fired from LA this year, and that's the sticking with the guys motive.
Yeah.
Like Montrez and Lou Williams should have never touched the court in that Denver series. People love Montrez and Lou Williams, but it's the harsh truth. Montrez could not check any big that Denver had, and Lou Williams is statistically one of the worst playoff basketball players on the planet. So sticking with your guys is not what's going to work. There's two possibilities. There's two ways that this Philly situation is going to go.
Yeah.
Number one is we're going to be like, oh, Doc Rivers is mid. He's just an average coach. He isn't the coach that everybody believes he is. Or he's going to unlock Ben and Joel and get to them. I don't think that Doc is going to go at Joel like he did with KG, but if he does, that's not going to work. But if he unlocks Ben's mental block, it seems like, to shoot, then they can be fine, because no one's asking Ben to be a 35% three-point shooter and take 4 threes a game. If Ben can just make one when it's open and take one when it's open, they will be set. They'll be contenders. But until that happens, they're just going to be another middle-of-the-road team with a whole bunch of talent.
Yeah. Like, just shoot the ball, Ben. Like, I know you do it in practice. You probably put up, 500 threes a day in there. Like, look, just shoot.
You are light-skinned. Devin Booker's light-skinned. D-Book. Just teach me how to shoot a jumper real quick and drill it. It's not hard. I promise. Lefties can either really shoot the ball or not shoot at all.
Lefty squad.
So, I just think that Ben is so talented, and Ben's a lot easier in my eyes to build around than Joel is. And I don't like with the other realm of possibility in terms of Doc not making this work out, like you said, that's going to fall on the players. It's not of course Doc will receive some blame, but people are going to be like, well, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid just aren't meant for each other. And granted, they don't play well together. They don't
complement each other's games.
Right, they don't mesh well as they should, but they are not the problem, because they don't get. It's not like they have a chemistry issue.
Yeah, they've been playing together for years.
Their play styles just don't complement each other. But that's also a testament to the system. And yes, Brett Brown was their coach for the past couple years, and he didn't use them to their best. I feel
they didn't really have an identity.
Yeah, and they were handing out garbage contracts to Al Horford and Tobias Harris, and taking on a whole bunch of money that they didn't need. And they got rid of Jimmy Butler. And they got rid of J.J. Redick. There was just terrible moves. So, I mean, Doc's going to have a big shoe to fill when it comes to working in Philly, because I feel like if it's not this season, it's not going to be any season.
Yeah. It's a similar situation with the Rockets, too.
Yeah, because with Houston, Steven Silas is obviously a well-known coach amongst NBA hardcores, at least.
Yeah. I bet these newbies don't even know who that is.
He was one of Luka's favorite coaches, and on the premise that Houston blows it up, Houston's going to be one of those teams where unless they're rebuilding, then it's a bust.
Yeah.
Because Russell Westbrook and James Harden aren't going to help you win. But that's a different discussion.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
My rookie of the year is the guy who I thought was the best pick
prospect
of the draft, was Killian Hayes. I just think Killian Hayes' game just really well suits the NBA, and I also think that playing with Derrick Rose, someone who came in highly touted and had to learn how to score at an NBA level, outside of or post ACL and LCL and MCL and meniscus injuries, learning how to shoot the ball at an efficient level, and I think that that's something that he could teach Killian really really early on, and I think that that will stick and just continue to improve whatever skill set that he has coming in. And like I said earlier, I love big guards that play offense and defense who can get a bucket and stop a bucket. I mean, Killian is one of these guys. And I also think that Detroit is an environment that can allow him to blossom the way that he wants to blossom.
They're very patient up there.
Yeah.
I have Obi Toppin, just because he's the more mature player in the draft. I'm pretty sure he's the oldest player in the draft. If not, he's up there.
Yeah.
So they're expecting him in New York to make an impact right away, and I expect him to. Mm-hmm. He has everything in his bag offensively. I think the only thing he's lacking is his lateral defense.
Yeah.
But they don't want that from him. That's not what they're expecting. They want him to go score the ball and be flashy, and I think he can do all of those things.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he was a unanimous Rookie of the Year. But if he underachieves, I could see James Wiseman taking it, just because with the Clay injury and with that culture and Golden State, they're going to be patient with him but also expect him to produce. And I think he's capable of that. He's a great offensive player. He might be a little unpolished, and we haven't seen much of him, but I definitely think he's capable. The only problem is that now that Clay's out, he does have more expectations, which young guys can sometimes crack under pressure, especially being in the biggest league in the world.
Yeah.
It's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like we said in the first episode, if James were to have gone to Charlotte, there would have been a lot of pressure on him to perform because Charlotte's not a good team, but Charlotte wants to win.
Mm-hmm.
But like him going to the Warriors prior to the Clay injury, there's no pressure on him. He's in a winning situation. He can play the way he wants to play because regardless, James isn't going to affect the total outcome of Clay, Dre, and Steph. But now that Clay is out of the picture, I think that more of that offensive pressure is going to be on James Wiseman, but that can either build or break him. I'm on the side to thinking that it will build him. I don't think that he's just going to fold like that. He had a tough last year, not being able to play with Memphis and the whole scandal. So
yeah,
I think that will help him. As strange as that sounds, with Clay not being there, but it also has the potential to tear him down because of that pressure. I don't know how he can deal with that.
Yeah.
But it's obviously not as bad as it is with like if he would have gone to Charlotte. I think LaMelo fits in Charlotte for that reason because I don't think LaMelo cares about the pressure.
I don't think he knows what pressure is.
I don't think because
his dad bred him for pressure.
So I don't think LaMelo has that kind of a sensor when it comes to when to feel pressure and when not to. I think LaMelo just goes out there and hoops. But with Obi, I can see him becoming Rookie of the Year, but I can also see him not even being mentioned on like a rookie team.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, the Knicks fans don't care about defense. I don't want to generalize Knicks fans. Yes, I do. I do want to generalize Knicks fans. Knicks fans care about offense. Knicks fans care about heat checks, dunks, crazy plays, flashy passes, stuff of that nature. And I think Obi provides all of that offensively, and he's also hidden defensively with being paired with Mitchell Robinson, who's a great defender. He just fouls a lot. But
like a lot actually, now that I think about it.
But and I don't know if Julius Randle's going to stay there with them drafting Obi, because now the New York Knicks for some reason have like 5 power forwards, which just doesn't make sense in any form or fashion. But Frank Ntilikina is a novice on offense. He
Not even a novice. It doesn't exist.
It's just, it's bad. And then R.J. Barrett is a tweener. Sometimes he's on offense. Sometimes he plays a little defense. But it's never consistent for both. And then obviously Mitchell Robinson is just a defensive stopper. So I think Obi does provide that balance when it comes to what they need offensively, and then he can accentuate or hurt what they do defensively. But that's up to Tom Thibodeau, because Tom Thibodeau is typically a defensive-minded head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's going to make Obi play defense regardless. Tom Thibodeau is the only reason Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler, right?
Yeah.
So, like, Obi has the ability, he has the frame, he has the athleticism to be a great defender. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of whether he wants to or not.
And I think he's one of those players that thrives with a coach like Tom Thibodeau, because he takes criticism and that he builds on that. Mm-hmm. Like you saw in Dayton, his first year to his second year, his numbers just skyrocketed. He's like one of 4 guys to be like a 63% field goal percentage or at that point. Yeah. And that's ridiculous. And like, that's Zion-esque.
He led college basketball last year in dunks, and I don't even think it was close. I think he led by like 30 dunks.
I didn't even know that was a stat they kept up with, to be honest.
It's one of those like Sports Center stats that makes people look pretty, but it's a stat nonetheless. For my 6th man of the year, I have Dennis Schroeder, who I felt should have got it last year. I don't think LA traded for Dennis Schroeder for him to be the starting point guard. I think that they I think that they traded for Dennis Schroeder to come off the bench and provide extra scoring, because the Lakers, outside of LeBron and AD, don't really have anybody when it comes to consistent points on the board.
Yeah.
They have a lot of hustle guys. They have a lot of guys who can put points on the board, but not in a consistent fashion like Dennis does.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Dennis can go there and average 20 a game, especially playing with someone like LeBron, because with Dennis Schroeder's not a typical 6th man. It's like Lou Williams. Like, they don't play sixth man minutes. They're just labeled as the 6th man on the rotation. So I think that Dennis can come in and have a massive impact in terms of
definitely
scoring the ball, just because he shot, I want to say it was like 38% from 3 last season, but like 42% in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. He
can either stand in the corner, stand on the wing and knock one down. He can initiate the offense. He can play make. He can get a bucket when need be. He had the best mid-range percentage from the right side corner this season. I know that because I'm a Thunder fan and I care that much. Him and Chris Paul actually last year led percentages on both left and right side corner shots in the mid-range. But I just think Dennis fits really well with LA, and I also think that being with LeBron and being with AD, that's their main focus. Teams don't go in playing the Lakers with LeBron and AD and be like, we have to worry about Dennis Schroeder today. And I think that's going to hurt a lot of teams.
Yeah, I mean, you saw with CP3, he was averaging like 19 points, 18 points. Yeah. They had like 3 guards above 18 a game, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, the CP3, Dennis, and Shea trio was statistically the best guard pairing in the NBA last season.
And with an upgrade like LeBron, like I see him flourishing there. I picked Spencer Dinwiddie for my 6th man of the year because I think he's in a unique situation in Brooklyn if they don't trade him for James Harden.
Yeah.
He's not gonna play that 2 spot because Karis LeVert is a bucket, and I mean he can drop 50, so I think they're gonna keep him in the lineup. He defends well. And Spencer Dinwiddie is a capable scorer. He's a capable defender. He's a great ball handler. And that's your 6th man. That's your guy coming off the bench.
Yeah.
I think that is going to help their team like immensely. I think Lou Williams is always going to be up there. Gordon Hayward is interesting. What was that report you were just reading? Who's going after him?
I want to say it was the Knicks, but I could be wrong.
If he goes to the Knicks, he's not even in this conversation anymore because he's going to be like their best player. But if he stays in
Or I have
Boston,
Gordon Hayward playing 1 through 5.
if he stays in Boston, he finds himself post injury, I think he could be Sixth Man of the Year. But I think Spencer Dinwiddie definitely has the highest upside for it. So he's probably my favorite pick. You want to get into standing predictions?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into standings. We can start with the Eastern Conference. So, with the Eastern Conference, sorry, I just sounded like Mike Tyson. I don't think that this is going to be unpredictable. I have Milwaukee as the 1 seed. I have Boston as the 2 seed. Milwaukee obviously the 1 seed because they're the second best regular season team in basketball, and people are going to let Giannis run rampant in the regular season. Boston, number 2. I think that Boston is starting to become the team that they were truly meant to be all along, pre and post Kyrie. And also, I think Jason Tatum's making massive jumps this season. 3, I have the Brooklyn Nets. I think that they won't have it down instantly. No team that just builds like that does.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of the beast. 4, I have Toronto. It's impossible to talk about the top half of the Eastern teams without mentioning Toronto. They're just always so good. At 5, I have the Miami Heat, same position as last year. They're not a real regular season team. They're a team built to win in the playoffs. At 6, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. They're too talented to be bounced out of the playoffs, but too confusing to be a top seed.
Yeah.
At 7, I have the Indiana Pacers. It's hard to discount Indiana because they always seem to win. They always seem to be solid. And at 8, due to my OU bias, I finally have Trae Young making the playoffs. I have them squeaking in at the 8th seed. I just think that the bottom half of the Eastern Conference is immensely weak.
Compared to the West, at least, for sure.
Yes. So, like, my tweeners at the 8th seed, or that'll be in the play-in, I have the Washington Wizards, the Charlotte Hornets, and the Orlando Magic. Washington, because they get John Wall back, and obviously they have Bradley Beal, who turned into a 30-point-per-game scorer. Orlando, because they've been the 8th seed the past 2 years, and they seem to get in when nobody else thinks that they're going to be good. And Charlotte, just because it's fun. They were at the bottom of the
Everyone
East.
wants to see it, too.
They were at the bottom of the East, and who doesn't like LaMelo, you know?
Yeah, my standings are pretty similar. Obviously, the Bucks at 1. Last season, they were on track to have one of the greatest regular seasons ever. But it got cut short due to COVID. So I don't think that's really in the question. I have the Nets at 2. I think KD's going to come back stronger than we expect. I think him and Kyrie will be fine together. They've been friends for a long time, and they're also close with Steve Nash, their new coach.
Yep.
So I think that they'll be up there. Celtics 3. They've been solid for a long time. They've kept their core group of guys together. Jason Tatum's just getting better, so they might even take that 2 spot, like you said. 4, I have the Heat. They'll probably be great at home like they were this year, go on a 3-game losing streak on the road, and that's going to hurt their overall record. Once they buckle down, though, I think they'll be dangerous. I have the Raptors 5, just because they got a bunch of vets. They got a bunch of great role players. Kyle Lowry never seems to lose a step on defense. I don't like Pascal Siakam much just because he disappears in the playoffs, but he's still a solid player. Fred VanVleet is a bucket. And my sleeper, Chris Boucher, he's going to be great. Y'all don't even know who that is, but he's great.
Oregon bias.
Yeah, a little bit. I got the 76ers at 6, just because they're an underachieving team. I hope Doc Rivers can get them in a top 3 spot, but I got to stay realistic here. I got the Pacers 7. Always solid. You got DeMontis. They got Miles Turner. Whether or not they decide to trade one of them, they're both valuable. I'm sure they'll get something solid back.
Brogdon, potentially Victor stays.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
And then I also have the Hawks at 8. I think that this is their year to finally make that jump. John Collins is just getting better. He's a good 3-point shooter for his position, and he's uber athletic.
I actually have the Hawks as the favorite out of the East.
Like to win?
Yeah, to go to the finals.
Okay. Anyways, Trae Young is ridiculous. He came into the league and instantly was dropping 30 points every game. I think that with Onyeka Okongwu, they have enough defense to make Trae disappear. But he still has to get better, though. It's so bad.
Trae plays about as much defense as my dead dog. So.
Yeah, my next team in with a play-in is probably either the Wizards or the Magic. Same reasons you explained. The Wizards, they have a star in Bradley Beal. They're getting John Wall back, who used to be considered a top 3 guard in the league. They had a solid draft. They got solid young guys. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be surprised seeing them sneak in. Moving to the West, I'm going to just get right into it. No surprises here. I got the Lakers at 1. They're probably going to win 60+. They're just getting better guys, better role players, because that's really all you need with LeBron. You just need a bunch of role players that do their job. I got the Nuggets 2. I think that they're still young, but I think that their main guys they've molded into the players that they're going to end up being. Yeah. I think Michael Porter Jr. showed a lot of bright spots offensively. He still needs to work on defense.
Maybe we can get Bol some more minutes. That's the Oregon bias you should have, Bol.
Yeah, well, he's skinny, bro. I'm scared he's going to get hurt. But yes, Bol is nice, and he will be goated if he can stay on the court and get minutes, even though Yusuf Nurkic destroyed him in the bubble, just dunked all over him. But yeah, I think the Nuggets are probably going to take over the conference in a couple years, so I wouldn't be surprised seeing them at 2. I got the Clippers 3, same record as the Nuggets, but the Nuggets will get that tiebreaker. Blazers 4, because they're consistently a low 50s win team, high 40s.
Especially when they're healthy. And Dame's entering his prime, so I don't see him slowing down anytime soon. Mavericks 5. Luka, I could see them sliding up a few spots, but I have them 5 because I think that Kristaps can't stay on the floor. I have the Warriors 6 because I still have faith in Steph Curry. James Wiseman is going to do good things, and they still have Draymond, who's their glue guy. So I think that core will be enough to get them in. I have the Suns 7. Chris Paul's going to work his magic like he always does. He's going to make everyone better. So I see them making it this year, like kind of a similar Hawks situation, but they obviously have a little better team. Yeah. And then I have the Jazz at 8. And I just think that they're going to get in because they have a bunch of vets. They always seem to make it. Play-in probably Thunder, Rockets, Grizzlies. I would lean towards Grizzlies just because they made it last year and no one expected them to. And I think that they're just going to keep getting better. The Kings are interesting. Because towards the end of the season, they'll always be right there, and then like they just disappear and completely fall off the list. Yeah, Harrison Barnes. Look me in my eyes right here. Shave. Get rid of it.
Please, bro.
You said that you were going to grow a beard until y'all make the playoffs. You are not in the Eastern Conference. You're in the Western Conference. I'm sorry, but you just chop it off now, okay? Because you're not making the playoffs. Please. One, the beard is not appealing. The beard looks like dead grass. 2, you just gotta get rid of it. You're not getting.
It's unrealistic expectations.
Maybe do like I'm not shaving my head instead of beard. Beard's too strong. It's too bold of a move for the Sacramento Kings. Um, okay, so my Western Conference standings. Number one, obviously, I have the Los Angeles Lakers. It's hard to deny that they'll be the 1 seed, given that they're the previous champions. At the 2 seed, I have the Denver Nuggets. I think that their confidence from playing in the bubble boils over into next season. I think that they're realizing how good that they actually are, and that's scary for a young team.
Terrifying, especially with how deep they are.
Exactly. At 3, I have the Dallas Mavericks. I think Luka, like I said earlier, takes a jump, and I also think, like I said earlier, that they make a splash in free agency with like Buddy Hield, because Buddy Hield wants to come to Dallas. At 4, I have the Los Angeles Clippers. I think that it's more of the same last year that it was last year. Not saying that's bad or that's good. I just think that the top 4 teams in the Western Conference are also competitive. So
yeah,
these games these seeds are all going to be 2-3 games out. It's not like a massive difference like it would be in the East. 5, I have the Portland Trailblazers. Like Drew said, they're a consistent low 50s win team, especially when they're healthy. The Blazers had a really solid draft, and they made a really solid trade for Robert Covington. So I believe that, barring that these teams stay healthy, Portland is a 5 seed in the West. At 6, I have the Utah Jazz. They're always, as of recently, they're a lower end Western Conference team who wins. I just don't see them being knocked out of the playoffs unless something major happens to the team. They do need more offensive help, though. Donovan Mitchell cannot do it all for them. At 7, I have the Phoenix Suns. I think that the Phoenix Suns finally break their playoff drought. And I think that, they finally break their playoff drought, and there's really not much to be said about that one. I just think CP3 takes them to a different level.
Definitely.
At 8, I have the Houston Rockets. I don't expect much out of them, especially with all the disgruntlement coming from their 2 stars and from Danwell House and PJ Tucker and all these other people that are key to their team. Reports coming out about how they're just not happy. My tweeners are Golden State, Memphis, and Oklahoma City. I don't want to count out the Warriors just because I do believe in Steph and Dre and James Wiseman to an extent, but not to the extent that I would if they had Clay. The Memphis and New Orleans are in the same spot, but I just think Memphis has a tad bit over them because they know who they are.
They've proven more too.
Exactly, and Oklahoma City too is not, aside from my Thunder bias. If I was strictly speaking on Thunder bias, the Thunder would be the 1st seed, but we all know that that's not realistic. I think that the Thunder have a good young team. I think that Shea is very special. I believe in Lou Dort. I'm the CEO of the Lou Dort fan club. And I think that we flip Al Horford for potentially a younger guy, or maybe some more picks. We're aiming for
Please no.
Please no. We're aiming for the first 14 picks of the lottery next year. So, Cade Cunningham, we will see you soon in Oklahoma. But I think that the West is just immensely competitive because, unlike the East, where the bottom half is extremely bad, the bottom half of the West is all extremely. These teams would dominate in the East, just because they're all so well put together. The bottom half typically in the West are all playoff teams. In the East, like Sacramento could go to the Eastern Conference and make the playoffs.
Literally.
Unlucky for you, Harrison Barnes. That's not happening.
Hey, he's getting a bag. I don't think he's that unlucky. For how he plays, he should not be making that.
That is very true. But with all that being said, I do think that all these teams have the potential in the Western Conference to make a splash. It wouldn't surprise me if Houston doesn't make it and Memphis does, or if Memphis and OKC duel it out and OKC makes it. It's so unpredictable, especially with the play-in at the bottom half of the West. Now that the 8, 9, 10, and 11 seed playing like a 4-man tourney.
I'm pretty sure it's just 9. That's what I thought. I thought they were gonna stick with how it was
because
with the bubble.
oh yeah, that's right. They have the chance to like
You have to
play
be
enough
within 4
games.
games
They
though.
play enough games, right? And then yeah, that's right. That's right. That's why Memphis and Portland played. But yeah, so that about wraps up how we feel about the seeding. We can get into NBA first teams and defensive teams. So for my All NBA first team, I I have Damian Lillard, Luka, LeBron James, Jason Tatum, and Nikola Jokic. I think that LeBron and Luka and Nikola are almost locks. More so for LeBron and Luka being locks, but I do think Jason Tatum makes a massive jump this year.
Well, you have JT in first team?
I do.
Oh, I did not catch that.
I have Jason
Wow.
Tatum in my first team. I think that he just makes a massive jump. He's also very slept on defensively. He doesn't get the credit that he should. And Damian Lillard also obviously will be NBA first team. For my all defensive first team, I have Ben Simmons, Marcus Smart, Kawhi Leonard, Bam Adebayo, and Anthony Davis. Practically the same as last year. I just have Bam Adebayo moving up into the defensive first team in replacement of Rudy Gobert. In my all rookie first team, I have LaMelo Ball, Killian Hayes, obviously, Sadiq Bey, obviously, Onyeka Okongwu, and James Wiseman. I do not have Anthony Edwards making it because I just think that he's not going to be, he's not going to pan out the way that I think a lot of people think he's going to pan out.
Notice how he's the only one that didn't cry when he got drafted.
Yeah.
That doesn't sit right with me.
Just about everyone was crying. I don't want to say he doesn't want to play in Minnesota, but that's sure what it looks like. Him and R.J. Hampton looked like similar reactions, but I don't think that. I think that he will play well. I just don't think that he plays as good as the 5 that I listed. I think it's going to be like a Tyler Hero situation where he plays well, but it's like a tweener, and then he comes into himself later on, but then it's too late. So
yeah, it's a pretty solid list. For my first team, I'll probably take the obvious 3 and Anthony Davis, LeBron, and Giannis. I don't want to throw James Harden in there just because I don't know where he's going to end up.
yeah.
So I'll put Luka in there, and I'm going to obviously take my guy Dame. I think he should have gotten it this year, but with Luka's numbers, it's hard to argue.
Yeah.
Defensive first team, I'll probably say exactly the same as yours, except I'll put Drew Holiday to replace Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons will probably make second team, though.
Finally give Drew Holiday some credit.
Yeah. Rookie team, that's kind of tough. I'll take LaMelo just because I think there's just no offense in Charlotte, so I think that his numbers will be enough.
They're going to have to look pretty regardless.
Yeah. I'll take...
Pretty on the outside, ugly on the inside.
I'm going to take Killian Hayes also. I really like his game. I'm going to also take Onyeka just because I think that he's going to instantly make an impact on the Hawks. Obi Toppin at that forward spot. And then I'll probably throw in James Wiseman also.
Well, that just about wraps up the things we wanted to cover.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate the support. We got like 100 views on our first video. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, it's small, but
that's more than we expected, for sure.
That's crazy for us, especially considering we're just starting out. 100 views turns into 200, which turns into 300, and so on and so forth. So we appreciate the support. Whoever's watching, thank you so much. Your support will be paid in full at the end, I promise you.
Everyone's getting Teslas.
All of us. We're all getting Teslas.
We're the new...
We're getting the actual ones. We'll send y'all like Hot Wheels cars. But with that being said, we do truly appreciate the support. This is something we love to do.
Very passionate about this.
This is something that we're going to continue to do. Within the first 3 months, you will be listening to us talking to any NBA player we can get our hands on.
Literally any one of them.
Any of them. That's a promise. The plan is 3 months, any NBA player, 6 months, a decently known NBA player, 9 months, an all-star, and in 1 year we get a superstar, like a superstar. And I think that that's very attainable, especially considering you're only 5 connections away from anyone in the world. So,
Literally.
Final words. Can't say Mamba out. Cannot say Redeem Team out, because that would be insinuating that the podcast would be done forever. And that's not the case. We're going to be going strong for a very long time.
We're going to keep working hard. We're going to keep trying to put out stuff y'all want to see. We're going to try to expand. This is only our 2nd episode. We're going to keep expanding. Right, you might see 10 Baby Yodas next episode.
We decked out the set for you today for visual pleasure, if anybody's even actually watching visually.
And Dane, if you're watching, bro, this is your autograph right here, man. Next step, just get on this podcast, bro.
Just give us a call.
Come on, man. Like, we love you. I love you most, but come on. Get on the show.
So, insider information. This is now our 3rd try filming this same exact episode. It is now 6:19 in the morning.
We started around midnight.
I got off work at about 11:30. So we're working, we're grinding for y'all.
So please just show some love, please. We've been working so hard.
A like, a share, anything. We're working hard, we're grinding, and soon this will all pay off. So thank you again for watching.
Redeem Team.
We will be back soon. This is only episode 2. Episode 3 will be coming soon.